From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, where to even begin? Another 3-game losing skid, another lost season, yet a keep Mike movement persists. The many little things that make this team frustrating to watch, and will Penn State provide cover for others to make similar bold moves? Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. The promo code still sustains despite the skid, everybody. And what is that promo code, Corey Clark, and what does it do for us?
It's warchantbogo, and if you buy 10, you get 10 free. Right. And if you buy 40, you get 40 free.
Corey's stoked to be here. I am too, because we got Vitamin Energy at least coursing through one of our veins right now. Vitamin Energy works faster and longer. 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, giving you up to 7 hours of energy, as well as body-nourishing vitamins. It's all in that one little bottle. It's not like you have to take one shot of vitamins and then a shot of energy, everybody. It's all in one bottle. It's called Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Clinically tested, clinically proven, award-winning, and you can buy one and you can get one free when you use the promo code warchantbogo over at vitaminenergy.com. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. $1 for a week and then a year subscription to The Athletic. Sounds like a pretty good faith effort to bring you into the fold, everybody. Do take advantage of it. Join warchant.com. You could have read Corey's column on Saturday evening and really put some good perspective into what we're all dealing with here. It's going to be an interesting show, Corey, today, I feel like. Do we talk about the game? Do we talk about the fallout from the game, about everything else going around the game? But before all that, we check in with you, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I hope you're doing well.
How was your dinner Sunday night? What would your bride make you?
She made me pork chops with a little bit of gravy, some mushrooms, onions, and spinach, and some rice. Yeah, it was good stuff, man. She knocked it out of the park.
Good grief.
Got myself a keeper.
Good to be Corey Clark, everybody. Good to be.
It really is. It really is. Well said, Aslan.
So we spoke to coordinators on Sunday. We obviously got Mike and some of the players afterwards. I'm doing a really bad job of this, Corey. Just third straight loss, 34-31 to Pitt. A Pitt team that brought in a true freshman quarterback making his second career start, first on the road. And he looked really sharp, man. And I don't know if that's because he's super talented and he's got a good offensive coordinator that knows how to dial things up and some good receivers, or if this Florida State defense is just pretty domed up. I guess it seemed to be what their defensive coordinator said. But I don't know. Where do we start, Corey? It's hard to really talk about this game and what Tony White said with the specter of James Franklin getting fired. Trent Dilfer gets fired. The coach from Oregon State gets fired. People aren't messing around. And then you, as a Florida State fan, you hear what you said during the wrap about these losing streaks that seem to be happening under Mike Norvell. I don't know if I don't want to steal your thunder on that, but just I don't know how to talk about this team right. Do we talk about this team as though this is over and we're finishing out the string? We're hoping against all hope that they're going to go on a winning streak, that they're going to be able to keep all these important weapons and the coaches that are worth keeping, and then you run it back for 2026. I don't know the path forward. Even in talking about this team, it's so just in disarray, it feels like.
And I think when you're saying team, you mean program, right?
Yes.
Not just the 2025 season. You're talking about this program. And yeah, man, I think the question now is, because, look, there is obviously a path to 8, even 9 wins.
Highly unlikely, though. Please, can we just at least say it's highly unlikely, yes?
But the thought is, okay, you're a 20-point favorite, even on the road this week. Stanford is like 120th in the country in offense, 113th in defense. It's the worst team you've played since Kent State. And they're not that much better than Kent State. They would beat Kent State, but not by a lot. If you win that game, you're 4-3. You get a week off. You get Wake Forest coming to your place. You're 5-3, hopefully, theoretically, if you can win that game. You're healthier, and then you go to Clemson with a chance to kind of salvage something. But I wonder if people listening to this, obviously you always want your team to win. But is it the best? Is that if they go 7 or 8, if they get to 7 or 8 wins, feel pretty confident that Norvell is staying. Is that what people want? I don't know. Me personally, as I sit here and talk the day after or 2 days after a third straight loss, we know he can do it, right? I don't think he's a bad football coach. He just isn't. You don't get to where he is. You don't win the games that he's won out of luck. I think he's proven it at multiple schools that he can coach. But is he domed up? Like, is this the bright spot for him? Sometimes it just doesn't fit. And I think, me personally, as I sit here, it's probably for the betterment of the program if he is, as I sit here right now, I'm going to qualify that he's not the head coach next year.
I agree.
Because I feel like the fan base has given up on him, and that doesn't matter if the team hasn't. But we've seen too many times that the team has given up on him. And next year, you bring these coaches back, perhaps. You bring these players back, perhaps. As soon as they lose a game, is it going to happen again? And I don't know if it's best for Florida State if he gets a year 7, if year 6 ends with 6 losses. In year 6, Aslan.
I know, brother.
After year 5 ending with 10 losses. I think you could make a reasonable statement that Florida State would be better off moving away from Mike Norvell. I am not a Mike Norvell hater. I think he is a good person. I know that doesn't matter to you guys, but I want to give you some perspective from somebody who would know that we all know what happened to Ethan Pritchard. It's awful. It's awful what he's going through, what he's been through. From somebody that would know, Ethan Pritchard's dad said that Mike Norvell was at the hospital every day. Every day. And that when he got there the night of, and I hope I'm not giving away too much. It's not a bad thing.
HIPAA violation.
But right, not that. But it's a little bit personal. But he was in tears, like really, really devastated. He is a person that cares a lot about his players, about this program, about the fans. I truly believe that, and I think he is genuinely a good person. But if you don't win games, who cares? He's not paid to be a good person. I hate to be so callous about it, but he's not paid for that. He's paid to win games. And this is the 6th 3-game losing streak he's had in his career. Bobby Bowden had 5 in his whole career at Florida State, 3 after the 1976 season. He went 24 years without a 3-game losing streak. Mike Norvell can't go 24 days, it seems like, without starting another one. So is he good enough for Florida State? I know all of you are screaming right now, of course not. But 2 years ago he was. So it is in him, and there is always a risk, Aslan, of making a change and then becoming Auburn or Florida, where you're always perpetually making changes. At the same time, you can't be scared of change, especially when you just can't get out of your own way as a football program. And golly, they all could have been won. Maybe the Miami game. Let's scrap that one. Let's say that was a loss from the get-go. They're very close to being 5-1, Aslan.
So is Iowa State, man.
Yeah, but also that's the point too. Is like you're close to being 5-1, great, but you're not, and you don't get the benefit of the doubt after what happened last year. You can't. It's hard to imagine a scenario where Florida State goes 1-10 in 11 ACC games, has lost 8 straight ACC games. And this is the guy that should be coaching you in the Big Ten or the SEC in a few years? Man, I don't think that's the answer. But, what sucks so much about the game on Saturday is, man, if they're healthy on offense, they win that game by 3 touchdowns. I truly believe that. They had 21 points at halftime with an injured quarterback, and we'll get to that in a little bit, and 4 starters out on offense. Against a capable, good team, they had 21 points and were getting the ball to start the second half. But, of course, Deuce gets hurt and can't play again. And you're playing guys that Gus said on Sunday, Tariq Mallory, Tayshawn Gelsey, they were out there in a tie game in the fourth quarter. They were on the scout team the week before. That's how down to the bare bones they were. It's like, that's bad luck, man.
Well, you also haven't recruited well. You haven't recruited well to where you're at that point with your depth. In week 6, that you're having to go to those kind of players.
Well, I don't know how many you would be down your starting 3 wide receivers and your starting tight end, and I think most teams would be struggling with that. Maybe not to that degree, But most teams would struggle. Again, though, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. It's sorry that you were unlucky, man. You weren't unlucky against Virginia. You earned that one. You weren't unlucky with the way you came out and played against Miami. You earned that one. So, yeah, it does suck. You probably do beat Pitt if you're healthy. But you weren't.
Pitt wasn't healthy. I mean, Pitt lost their left tackle the week before. They lost their left guard 2 weeks before that. They didn't have, I think, 3 defensive ends and 2 tackles.
They had Desmond Reed. They got Desmond Reed back.
Yeah,
Aslan.
they were without some of their secondary pieces too. So, like, I mean, it's week 6. Everyone's banged up. Everyone's losing guys. This goes back to the point about, and it's valid, man. Like, yeah, they are a few plays away from being whatever,
right.
4-2, 5-1.
Yeah,
man, every team can say that. The team that's 3-3 can say that.
Yep.
Like, you need to find a way to make the plays, prevent the plays from happening. They don't. And it's not just the last 3 weeks. This is, and I don't want to tie this year into last year because they are two completely different things. Because I don't like when people talk about 19-game winning streaks. And I'm a Jimbo defender. I don't like when people talk about him winning 20 whatever in a row. Man, those
29, buddy.
It was a bowl game. It was another season, regular season or whatever, and then you lose the playoff game, and then you're mixing in all these different kind of things. Like, man, just got to focus on one season at a time. That's how these things are all determined. And this is just not going to be a good season again. And this will be really the 4th out of 6 seasons that there's nothing salvageable about it unless they somehow beat Clemson and Florida. And
again, they could go 5-1 over the next 6. Don't laugh.
I can't, because we said this yesterday. Well, what if they rip off 7 in a row? They didn't.
No, but I'm
There's
saying
no
like
way they do it, man.
No, probably not. But if they were to, I'm just saying the hypothetical of if they do go 5-1 in their next 6, I'm not sure that a lot of Florida State fans would like that. Because that almost guarantees that the coach is coming back. So is it better for the program to go 5-1 over these next 6 games or rip the Band-Aid off in a month? I don't know. Because, I think I do believe in Malzahn and Herb Hand, man. They have done – when you think about what that offense was last year and what it is this year, that is a miracle. They have done one – I know they shut it down in the second half. I give them a pass. They put 21 points on the board with Deuce Robinson. They lost Deuce, and that's not an excuse. You got to do something else. You got to figure out a way. But they were rolling on offense, and they've been good on offense the whole season. The defense is a problem, but the defense doesn't have very good players. I also believe in Tony White and Terrence Knighton and the gang on that side of the ball that they could evaluate and bring in good players that are good for their system, because they've done it at places similar to Florida State, one in the ACC and then one in Nebraska. It's a Big Ten school. They've had good defenses. This was a bad combination of not great talent up front in that front 7 and a brand new system. But will they get that chance to be here to try to fix it in year 2? Is that what's best for the program? Or is what's best for the pro? And I'm asking a question because I really don't know, man. Like, I know I just said what I said about Norvell. I just don't trust him at all anymore. But you can earn back trust, man. I didn't trust the Braves to ever win a World Series again. They did it. Crazy stuff happens. I never trusted Bobby Cox in October. He got a World Series too. So you can earn trust back. But right now, after that loss, after another losing streak, man, it just, again, they just spiral. That is the hallmark of his program is his 1 loss becomes 2 loss becomes 3 losses. They don't respond.
Mr. Response.
And that's what he preaches.
And he's, sorry.
They don't. They don't do it. And so that's always been that has been an issue. It's clearly an issue now. So I don't know what the ceiling is with him. I don't know if he's the guy moving forward. I don't know if Florida State winning 5 or 6 games is good for the long-term prognosis of Florida State. I think it would be. I think if you win 8 or 9 games and you got Malzahn and you got Tony White coming back and you got Tommy and Deuce and Earl Little coming back and you go get some linebackers and go get some guys up front that can play, you would have a chance to be in the conversation again next year. But that's not a guarantee, is it? And you have a chance. It's not a guarantee. Who knows? They could do. even if they finished 8-4 this season, Aslan, what would your confidence meter be that they're going to go win 10 or 11 games the next year? He's broken all trust, and he's broken all belief. And sometimes, most times, that's really hard to get back. Once it turns like that, where you're getting booed rightfully, it doesn't typically turn around. And so it'll just be a matter of, are they going to rip the Band-Aid off if they go 6-6, or are they going to run it back for another year and hope they get a little luckier and a little healthier? I don't know.
What I do know is that when times are rough, I always get a smile on my face when I show up to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and see all you happy people, your smiling faces.
Well, because it's the day before the game, not the day after the game.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Shout out to, maybe I should do this now during our read. We always get to meet all these cool people when we have our meet and greets. We'll be on hiatus for a little bit because we have a road game this week, bye week, the week after. But got to meet Letitia and Ty from Pittsburgh, big-time Noles fan, awesome. Ty. Lifelong Florida State fan. First ever time down in Tallahassee for a Florida State game at Doak Campbell Stadium. Makes it by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill with his lady. Neil and Jules, two dudes, super cool guys. Bert, who I think you said you've maybe mentioned him once or twice before.
Yes, yep, met Bert from Waycross, right? Ware County.
Yeah, I think
represent.
So. And Brad and his son Easton.
Yeah.
I hope they all enjoyed the food. I hope the adults enjoyed the icy cold adult beverages. And the live music that happened around 7 o'clock afterwards. So all the things you want, your favorite sports bar, it's all there at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 24/7.
Hey, I get to read mine real quick. Let me read mine real quick. They all know where it is, Aslan. It's on Appalachia Parkway. Put it in your Google Maps. Quit being lazy.
Google me.
I got a John from Tampa.
Nice.
And Austin from Orlando. Kurt Searcy. Nick from Fort Lauderdale, who actually sat next to and watched Florida lose. So that was fun. When I got to Corner Pocket on Saturday night, we were watching that crazy Georgia-Auburn game, and then Florida lose to Texas A&M. So he was sitting there. He was very nice. Braden McGill, whose dad Eric played offensive line for the Seminoles in the 90s. And then Kevin, I don't remember your last name, but I met him in Dublin, and he was very nice as well. And Amy from Plant City.
Okay.
Good old Amy from Plant City.
Represent.
They told me she was a big fan. She didn't seem overwhelmed when she met me, but I think she was playing it cool. She was probably just beside herself with excitement. But she played it really cool, and I appreciate that.
There we go. Appreciate you folks for hanging out. Let's do it in a few weeks for the Wake Forest game, everybody. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. warchantbogo, your promo code at vitaminenergy.com. I mean, this is like an evergreen thing. This is something that we probably even talk about in May, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up now, Corey, but just thoughts on this fallacy choice, I feel like, that the option for Florida State is to either rip the Band-Aid off or save the money from the Band-Aid and reinvest it, double down with Mike Norvell. Is that really the way this stuff works? I don't think it does, right? We're not sitting on $50 million. Like, there's not $50 million earmarked to where it's like, we're either going to use this to buy a bunch of awesome players or we're going to use it to fire the coach. Like that's not the way this works, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes from somewhere. But yes, I don't think they would, go to the bargain basement on players because they have to pay Norvell $8 million that year, $6 million, or whatever they're going to space it out. Yeah. So where he's to not coach, they would still. It just wouldn't make sense, right? Like if you don't have the money to put together a competitive, good roster, then don't fire him. Because if he's going to hamstring you even more because he's taken away half your salary for your players, then it makes no sense to fire him. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was just a finite amount of money, you say, look, We only got $32 million for the whole football operations budget. And if we fire him, that's going to cost us $9 million of that $32 million every year. Everybody would say no. Don't do that. Don't leave us short. You also go buy another head coach. And most importantly, as we all know now, most importantly, you have to go get players. So I don't think that it doesn't stand to reason that if you're going to spend enough money to pay a guy not to coach, like Penn State is about to, you are not then going to go skimp on the or scrimp. Skimp? I don't know that word.
Scrimps are tasty, but we skimp.
Scrimps are great. Scrimp sandwich, scrimp scampi. You're not going to then skimp on paying the players. That just makes no sense. You care enough about football and winning football games that you're going to pay someone $50 million not to coach your team. You don't then say, well, let's tighten the purse strings a little bit, gang. No. You're either all in or you're not. And if you fire a guy when you owe him $50 million, by definition you're all in. But they're going to have to raise some money. And that's the other question, Aslan, is if they do go 6-6 and they do keep Norvell, how much money is going to be poured into the program? I don't know.
One other thing I wanted to mention, I shouldn't. There's like a starting five of people that go on Warchant. God love them. They pay my salary. I mean, they're just over the moon optimistic about everything. And I'm like,
that's good. Hey, that's a good way to go through life.
I guess it is. You know,
they
probably look better than I do. They're probably in better health than I am. But it's just like I read some of these things. I'm like, ugh. Are we having the same conversation if Florida State would have gone 14-1 in 2023? Like if they had made the playoff. Let's say Jordan was whole. They make the playoff. They win the
national championship.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. And if it would have looked bad in that game, or if I don't even know, would things be clearer? Because there's a lot of, when he has players and talent, we have seen that it works. Fair. True.
Yep.
But at the same time, it feels like we were operating under a different set of rules where Florida State was really ahead of the curve and had taken great advantage of the transfer portal and having the right kind of infrastructure. That is no longer the case. Like, guys don't slip out of rosters that end up being Johnny Wilsons and Trey Bensons anymore. Like, you have resources and you can identify them. Like, we're going to hold on to you. We'll give you all the money you want. Like, we believe in you. So that's another thing that makes me frustrated too when people talk about just hold on to him, double down, give him what he needs more money-wise. I believe in the guy. He's done it before. And it's like, that feels so long ago, and there was no guarantee they were going to win it all. And no one's coming after him anymore. I mean, I know Alabama made a run at him, but like, nobody wants Mike Norvell, so we're gonna just double down and give him even more to be our head coach on top of everything else.
Again, it's like, do you pay him? Let's say whatever the $50 million would be spaced out as, like $8 million for 7 years. Is that the math right? $8 million for 6 years.
Yeah.
Do you think he's such a bad coach that he cannot win, that you would rather spend $8 million for him to go away than give him an extra $8 million in talent acquisition? So if his player budget was $16 million, you give him $8 more million. So now you're giving him 50% more money. Do we think he's such a bad coach that he would not use that correctly? That's math that happens. Maybe we're also kind of under the guise that everybody's supposed to be on the same playing field when it comes to roster now.
Yeah,
it's just $20 million. Who knows if that's true? What the validity is there? I think it's fair for people to point that out. But as somebody, I can't remember who it was, they made a really good point. Maybe Robert Traylor. Does that name seem familiar? He asked
Michigan.
He asked a question on headlines, Seminole headlines, or he brought up something about the reason that Florida State's teams get worse as the season goes on is because they have so little depth, because he doesn't recruit well enough to develop depth. So yes, they're fresh when they play LSU. They're fresh when they play Alabama. But as the season goes on and guys get banged up, they can't practice as much. So the guys that come into practice aren't nearly as good. So the practices aren't nearly as good. And then you get to the game and it continues to spiral and crumble. And even in the 2023 season, as we've lamented, that thing got worse as it went on. It was still good. I mean, you still had Jared Verse and Trey Benson and Johnny and Keon and Jordan. So, of course, it was still good. But it wasn't as good as it was because the depth wasn't there, because you don't recruit. And I do think, as I've said before, I think this is his best, most impactful class, most impressive freshman class that he's brought in. But it ain't like he's got a bunch of surefire NFL guys out there.
Yeah.
And what does it say about your recruiting when the Desir brothers are playing so many snaps?
Yeah.
You know, those were the mistakes that were made. And so my pushback with that to be there, my pushback there is it can't just be on the fans to give him a roster and say we're going to spend top dollar on every recruiting battle you have. At some point, you have to win a recruiting battle being close to even or even offering a little less because they want to play for you because they know they're going to be developed by you. Not everybody goes to the highest bidder. Some of them go in. That's not how it works. They will go to Texas Tech if they get offered gobs more money.
Yes.
We understand that. But when you're Florida State, you got other things to sell besides just an extra comma or an extra zero on a check. Like, you've got real stuff to sell, or you should, because you're supposed to play for championships. You do play in front of a great fan base and a cool stadium. You got a brand new sparkling football facility that opens this week. And you're also supposed to be an NFL pipeline. But that's not the case, man. And so that's what yes, if you got him better players, sure, but it's on him to get better players. It's also on him to develop and evaluate. And he has not done that really at all when you look at what he's done in the recruiting circles. It's just, I'm not going to say he lucked in, because not many people were beating down the doors of Trey Benson and Johnny Wilson. And certainly nobody wanted Jordan Travis. I know he was here before Norvell got here, but Norvell is the one that started him. So, you know, he does credit. Gets credit for that. Yeah. But, you know, why won't a Reuben Bain come here? Why isn't a kid from Albany University that you had to go get and pay him? You were ahead of the curve. You were ahead of the curve, like Aslan said, and you were offering Keon Coleman more money than like Michigan State or Ole Miss was offering. But you weren't having to offer him $1.6 million because the rates hadn't gone up that high yet. It wasn't that much money. But you were smart enough to figure out the game and outbid people by a few thousand or 10,000 or 20,000, whatever it is, for these guys. That was smart, and it worked. But you didn't build upon that with any true evaluation. And when those stars left, you what have you brought back? What have you brought back?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to end up being a good player, but was it in your best interest to seemingly break the bank to bring in Usman Kromah when this is such a pivotal season for you? And he's somewhat of a project. We'll see. I mean, you know, Gus said on Sunday, like, you hit this point in the season, the midway point, things should start slowing down for you. And, you know, Kromah had a couple good runs.
I thought that was his best game, but he only played 13 snaps.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
Yeah. Are you utilizing the amount of money that you put towards him that we've seen some numbers that are big, you know, like six figures to get a true freshman running back. And then, you know, meanwhile, Pitt's got a kid that's from the state of Florida that came here to campus and wanted to be recruited by you, and you didn't recruit him. And like, he goes to Pitt, and they're probably not paying Desmond Reed anywhere near what they're paying Usman Kromah. You went and got Squirrel White, who had some injury issues. And this last thing, the concussion stuff's not his fault. That was a targeting shot from Miami, but you haven't gotten a lot out of him either. And when he was fine, but he was only fine really for what? Like the Alabama game, and he had that huge catch. If he doesn't make that catch, who knows what happens? So maybe I shouldn't put Squirrel White in this conversation. But, you know, Deuce, clearly worth it. Like, that was a home run acquisition. I did not think Deuce was going to be this impactful. It's incredible. Like, it's awesome to see how well he's doing. But there's some things where it's like they do have money. They've had powder to go out and get guys, but was that well used money that could have been spread out and maybe help this defense out possibly more? I mean, do they need 5 running backs on scholarship that they're going to rotate in and out, or could they have used another edge rusher or another linebacker that's a little bit more athletic so that if they get caught on a wheel route with a running back, it's not a joke? You know, so there's just so much data that keeps accumulating that just doesn't make you feel good about acquisition, evaluation, retention.
Well, not with him, right? Again,
Correct.
I think they did better on the high school trail in a couple of weeks with the new guys. But look, man, at the end of the day, his record is his record. and we can sit here and try to explain it away, and there are some reasonable explanations. COVID was a big that was hard to recruit for. It was hard to plan for. Guys that coached in their first years were the COVID year. That's tough. We get it. They didn't even get to know their team. And then you come up, but then
two coaches have been doing, Eli Drinkowitz of Missouri and Lane Kiffin both got hired same year as him, and they figured it out.
I'm also sure there's plenty that got hired that aren't even on.
Yeah, Sam Pittman, anymore. Mel Tucker. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that also got hired that completely fell into things.
But the point is, that you get a little benefit of the doubt there, man. That was a tough ask. But the next year you take Notre Dame to overtime, play really well, and then lose the next week to Jacksonville State. So, again, then you don't get to use COVID as an example. You're good enough to play with and almost beat.
Yeah.
I think of McKenzie Milton. I think he dropped a snap and had to throw it away or something on that last drive, and they kicked a field goal to tie the game. They were going to beat Notre Dame.
Shout out Fitzy, by the way, game winner for the Panthers
man,
on
how
Sunday.
about my man? Just crushing it. So you go from 1 week being
We're ranked. We're back. Yeah,
beating Notre Dame to losing the next week to Jacksonville State. It is just a helter-skelter, bipolar football program. You don't know what you're getting. You beat Alabama, and then you lose to Virginia and Pitt. Like that's not normal.
Yeah,
it's just not normal. You haven't been able to recruit at a high level, and so this is where you are.
It's not like Billy Napier. Sorry, it's not like Billy Napier beats Alabama then loses to Vandy and Kentucky. It's crazy. Like you don't see other coaches.
Well, he did lose to South Florida and then beat Texas.
Touche.
Just throwing that out there. But he's gone too. That's not somebody to compare him to. Right. Napier's gone too, and they're in as bad. They're in the same boat that Florida State fans are in right now. But no belief in their head coach at all. And it kind of they looked awful after the first quarter on Saturday night, by the way. But who cares? Nobody. You can't dance on their grave when you're buried too. So I just think when you look at the big picture of this thing, if he can right this ship and turn it into a 2022-like season, Aslan. Like again, that team had a 3-game losing streak, turned it around, and then the next year won them all.
That was such a fluke, man.
Seems like it.
The amount of interim coaches, backup quarterbacks, they went like that. Florida game was legit. Like that Florida game was completely legit. But the amount of interim coaches, first-year head coaches, backup quarterbacks they got in that back half of the season.
Well, I will say though, just winning is hard. We've seen it. We can't just dismiss
torch Tony White's defense. They were whole.
That's right.
They were whole.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, it couldn't too good, man. The Florida State Noles were too good, and they ran all over that defense. By the way, So I get it. I know people are done with them. I think it would be too early to. I think it's too early to let him go and do what Penn State did, which I do want to talk about that in a second. But look, if he loses to Stanford, don't come back on the plane, and I'm not joking. Like, if you lose to Stanford, and none of us listening to this think that is improbable,
right?
Like that is not impossible at all that they go out there and lose at Stanford, and if you do, you're done. Literally, like you're done. You don't get to coach the team that Sunday. You can stay out there and enjoy the wineries, man, because you're not coming back to Tallahassee as the head coach at Florida State. But I don't think they're going to lose to Stanford. I don't think they're going to lose to Wake. So then you're 5-3, and he's still coaching for his life, but he's got a little momentum going. But at the end of the day, again, who cares? Are y'all going to be fired up if he goes 4-2 or 5-1? Are y'all going to believe in him moving forward? More importantly, are the people that matter well, you all matter. I shouldn't say it like that. The people that pay his salary, are they going to care if he goes 4-2 or 5-1? Or are they going to see a shiny toy like James Franklin out there and say, I want that? I want the guy that – I looked it up, folks. I looked it up. So in the last 5 years, Penn State has had 33 guys drafted in the last 5 years. 7 of them were first-rounders. Part of me would, if I was the AD at Florida State, I might think to myself, I might want to go get the guy that signed Saquon Barkley, Micah Parsons, Tyler Warren, and Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Those look like those guys are fun to watch.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go to Albany to get his best player. He didn't have to luck into a third-string quarterback that was on the roster when he got there, or go get a kid from Western Michigan that ended up being awesome, or get lucky that Keon wanted to go play in the South. No. He went and earned Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren and Saquon Barkley in the 30 other draft picks he's had in the last 5 years, man. Like, that's what Florida State needs. They need to be loading the NFL with draft picks every year. I just think that's what it has to take now. Like, it was cool, and they did. They had 9 or 10 guys drafted off that team. None of them were Norvell's guys. Not one of them. I don't think. Was Renardo? I think, no, Renardo was here with Willie.
Yeah, Jarian, though. Yeah, I mean.
But not his guys.
Right.
Jarian came from Mississippi State.
But he'd been here for a while, and they believe that's. I mean, yeah, go ahead. I was going to derail you, and I don't want to derail you. Continue. I'm sorry. Sincerely.
So that's what I wonder about. That's what, if they make a change, I don't care who it is. I legitimately think Franklin would be a really interesting, intriguing option, because I just believe in his ability to put really good players on a football roster. I do not believe in his ability to win big games. I don't believe in Norvell's ability now to win any games. So until that changes, James Franklin looks mighty good. I know they just lost 2 games. Their starting quarterback did get hurt in a pretty critical moment of that game and is out for the year now. And so, but there's no excuse. They lost to UCLA. I get it. By the way, Tony, sorry, buddy. I think UCLA is going to keep Neuheisel.
Well, he's the OC Neuheisel. They've got an interim coach, but yeah.
Oh, they might make him well, then I don't know that you go and beat Penn State and put up 50 on Penn State or whatever it was, and then go beat the bejesus of Michigan State in Lansing, East Lansing. That interim's looking like he might get the job. Yeah. It's Tony White in his defense that keeps up giving up 34 points and 450 yards a game might not be the best sell to UCLA fans. So anyway, I'm all over the place. I just think that Florida State needs to get a coach that is going to load this thing with players. Is Norvell that guy? It would appear not.
Yeah.
And if he's that guy, he, number one, to even get the chance, he better win 4 or 5 more games this year. He better. And then he better get himself a recruiting class and a portal class that can effing play. And get you a linebacker or 3 or some defensive effing linemen. Because it is absurd how little production you get from your defensive line and just how pedestrian they all are. That front 7 is absurd. Tony White had a better front 7 at Syracuse. And he had a twice as good a front 7 at Nebraska. Why in the world does Nebraska have so much better players than you? Pitt's linebackers are playing a different sport than the one that Florida State's linebackers are. They go and make plays. They run downhill and trigger and fire. And one of them injured Tommy on the first play of the game. Not intentionally, but he made a hard enough tackle that he injured someone. They are so much better than Florida State's linebackers. It defies belief. And I'm not talking about Ohio State's linebackers or Texas's linebackers. I'm talking about flipping Pitt. Why in the world is that? It's just absurd that your front 7 looks like this. And then maybe, and I like Jerry Wilson. He's been fun to talk to. I think other than the Miami game, I think he's been a good football player for Florida State. Why spend money on the cornerback position when you need so much help in the front 7? Just if I'm talking about putting together roster building. Cornerback wasn't an issue of need, and I don't know what they paid him.
Yeah, resource allotment, man. It's a thing. Yeah, it's part of this whole thing.
Yeah, but you've got to know what your weaknesses are, and you've got to recruit better on the line of scrimmage. It is absurd. Again, I'm sorry I've used that word 4 times in the last 5 minutes, probably 5 seconds. But that line of scrimmage, really on both sides when you think about Norvell's guys, and then the front 7 on defense, that ain't it, man. That ain't it. So either figure it out a way somehow quickly to win games and get good players on this roster, NFL players on this roster, or enjoy your life of luxury and your $50 million paychecks, or your $50 million worth of paychecks that will be coming probably starting next year.
This is a weird question, Corey, but it's never stopped me before. So we mentioned ripping the Band-Aid off. Is it better for Florida State to go 5-1, or is it better for this thing to kind of go off the rails? And so, like, going into the season, I just wanted clarity, right? Like either get this thing figured out so we can reinvest in you, like emotionally, and believe in you once again, or like kind of fall on your face so we know for sure, okay, like we've squeezed everything we possibly could out of this partnership. It's time to go part ways. A smart person that we both know floated out this scenario where it's like maybe there's a scenario where we get our cake and we're able to eat it too. Like Mike is able to leave not on top, but not embarrassed and land on his feet somewhere else. Is that possible if they go 4-2, 5-1 down the stretch? Like, would that rehabilitate him enough so that maybe Arkansas, a place that he has, some ties with, maybe you take reduced buyout, like, hey, we'll give you like $20 million to leave, and then Arkansas doesn't have to, maybe, I don't know if that's collusion, but is there anything that would possibly maybe hit the radar to where Florida State can get out of this thing and not be completely cash strapped afterwards?
I mean, yeah, but he's going to have to win 5 games out of 6. That's going to be a hard sell to Arkansas to hire a guy that went 2-10 and then 7-5.
But he did it when you had players. He did it.
Yeah, that's true. You get him the players.
We'll get him the players.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great scenario, I guess. Maybe Penn State's interested, and you just do a trade, and neither one of you have to pay buyouts because they owe Franklin about what you owe Norvell. So just do a trade and call it even, and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I think that I guess that's a possibility, but I don't think that's obviously a probability, and that's more of like just wishful thinking. Yeah. You're going to have to make a tough decision at the end of the year if he doesn't go on a run here in the second half of the season. And 3 road games at 4 road games. Golly, they got 4 road games left. They are 3-3, and they got to play 4 games on the road. So they're 3-3, and they've only played 1 road game. Good grief. And they played 4 real teams, and they're 1-3 against them. So yeah, man, I'm not thinking this thing's going to turn around. I hope it does, like I said, because I want Florida State to win. I want you guys to be happy. And there is a scenario where it does turn around, and next year they build upon it, and it does become like it was in 22. We just don't believe that's going to happen because there's nothing in the defense. It's just they don't have good enough players, man. They just don't. And Tony White didn't do a good job, let me be clear. I'm not giving him a pass. But he was not given a lot of great players. I mean, look who he's running out at linebacker, man. A.J. Contra was a walk-on the last 2 years. He played 30-something snaps in that game.
He had a spring window, though. Maybe that goes back to they don't have the resources, but they had a spring window, to your point, to go get Jerry Wilson. They felt good coming out of spring to, like, stand pat there. That's, dubious decision.
Well, what I think it comes back to the head coach a little bit when it comes to defense. I know he's not a defensive guy, is that why did they play so reckless and carefree against Alabama?
Cut it loose.
Why did they play downhill and loose? And then again, as Tony White said a lot on Sunday, they're thinking too much. They're not confident. They're not sure of themselves. They're thinking too much, and they're not attacking the ball. And they're not just in attack mode. And it seemed like he's a little bit perplexed as to why. And it's like, well, it might be because of the weight of the world might feel like it's on that team. Because their head coach, for whatever reason, doesn't breathe confidence into him. I don't know why. It's not Norvell's fault. It's not like he tells them he sucks and he can't believe he has to coach them. He's always uplifting them. He's always trying to tell them how good they are. But for whatever reason, his teams, as seasons go on, not only get worse, they play less and less confident with less and less aggression until it looks like they're just going through the motions. And that has been kind of the motto for a good long while around here, or the MO around here for a while. So, again, it's a bad streak. It doesn't mean the season's over. It doesn't mean his career is over. But to me, it's kind of on life support. Unless Alford comes out on Monday and says, I believe in Mike Norvell. I promise. It gives him an extension. I believe in Mike Norvell, and he is absolutely going to be back here to coach the 2026 season. I think all of us will wonder what his future will be. And he'll be on the hot seat going into November, clearly, if he hasn't lost to Stanford and has already been fired. That's where we are. That's where we are. And because it's not year 2. It's not year 3. It's year 6. His program was better. His program was the same in year 2, 5-7, and ripped off a little bit of a winning streak, Aslan, if you remember, after the four-game losing streak, of course. His program was better in 2021 in year 2, or as good as it is right now. And they paid for all these coordinators. They paid for all these players. Yeah. His team still looks like it did in 2021. Yeah. Yuck. So that 2021 team lost some close games. They just don't play they don't play situationally well at all. And I don't know why.
You know who plays situationally great is Corey Clark, everybody. Proof of it over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Not only are they hooking you up with that, everybody, at Underdog Fantasy Sports. It's an app. Go download it. They've got a conscience, Corey. So they're in the customer service game, if you will. So you cooked up a pick'em for all of us that included Tommy Castellanos lower on 63.5 rushing yards. Good job, Corey.
Nailed it.
Higher on Mason Heinchel interceptions, 0.5.
Nailed that. Yeah.
Deuce, 65.5 receiving yards. You said higher. Yeah. Randy Pittman, longest reception, 15.5 yards. You said higher.
Yeah.
Well, Randy was a scratch. Deuce exited the game due to injury. They wiped that off, recalculated my odds down to about 2-1, and I got paid out $32. $32 on my $10 entry because Corey Clark hooked it up, and so did Underdog. They're really good about this. There's some apps apparently that if your player gets hurt, it's like tough. Underdog doing the right thing. Corey Clark giving us winners. We'll see if he can cook us up another one or two later on in the week. We don't have any college football ones out there right now.
Yeah, because I think part of the deal with player props, Aslan, is one of the risks of them is they might get hurt or get benched.
Yeah.
But Underdog takes that worry away. So there's no reason not to play a bunch of player props. If a player gets hurt, they're gonna still honor the other legs of the parlay.
Yeah. Again, download the app today. Sign with promo code WARCHANT. Score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchants presented by Vitamin Energy. WarchantBogo, your promo code, buy one, get one free. All right, Corey, I'm going to rattle off a bunch of things that's going to make you irritated and wonder why you co-host a podcast. I mean, I apologize. I just don't, there's a lot of little things that are starting to accumulate that are grating me a little bit. You flex on the first drive of the game, I think on the second play of the game, and he's a really good player, Jabril Rawls. He might be your best player on defense. But like you're a 10.5 point favorite at home. You've lost 2 in a row, and it's the first drive of the game. They're spoiler alert. They're going to go and convert 3 4th downs on you in this drive, and like you flex on somebody. You score a touchdown to tie the game up in the first half, and then you break out the TikTok dance. Your quarterback smacking gum at the podium. He is coaching up a third-year, fourth-year player to give particular answers when he's being asked questions. You've got your head coach and assistants kind of clashing heads on the sideline in the middle of a game. Tony White is opening the door to the fact that maybe there's like this creeping gloom that's over the program that's entering people's heads. And we heard about in the spring that he was happy that he was fearful that might be a thing for a team that had gone through what they'd gone through, but he hadn't seen any sign of it during spring. They were able to kind of flush it, move on to the next thing. Like these are the little things too that in a course of a season, listen, if they're winning, I don't care if Tommy's smacking gum at the podium. I don't care if Micahi's dancing with a touchdown if they're 6-0. Like, yeah, you can do that. That's fine. But like when you're not winning, I just feel like there needs to be a little bit more of a locked in, grounded, dialed in, because these games have all been one or two, or really the Virginia and Pitt games have been 1 or 2 plays away to where like maybe they're not practicing really that hard, Corey. I don't want to say they're loafing, but they're clearly not practicing sharp. and I don't know who's holding who accountable because they're doing some stuff that just seems undisciplined. You're going to run a fake punt, but then you take a delay of game. You get a punt blocked. You're the special teams team. Like you're the special teams program. You get a punt blocked. You try to run a fake, and you end up getting a delay of game on it, which kind of bailed you out because I think Gavin Sawchuk probably would have got stonewalled. They're just like these little things that, like, these are what bad teams do, and I never thought these would be things I would see from a Mike Norvell coach team.
Well,
after the 2023 season, we saw that he did.
Yeah. I will say this. I think the second half of your problems are much more justifiable. I don't have a problem with the kids celebrating making a good play in a game. I mean, it's hard to play football. And it's not like they're down 38-6 and he's celebrating. I have a huge problem with that. But when you score a 40-yard touchdown to tie a game, it's okay to celebrate. And when you have a big play on the first drive, you haven't lost that game yet. So I think he's celebrating and making a good play. It'd be nice if other people played as hard as Jabril Rawls and attacked the ball like that and had reasons to celebrate. So I don't mind that in the course of a competitive game if you're celebrating. I mean, they did it against Alabama too. They celebrate after one of the touchdowns. It's going to happen. The special team stuff is crazy. Again, you finally just decided McCoy is your punt returner. I guess it's hard to know because you didn't make a punt in the second half much, and when you did, it was out at the 5. But the one time Lucas was back there, again, he lets the thing bounce next to him, and he gets lucky that it bounces sideways. You do get a punt blocked. You never return kicks. You never let anyone return kicks on you. Like, what if you were really good at special teams and took it really seriously, and you have a kid with that good kind of leg, could he not hit one of those rainmakers that you catch at the 3 in the corner, and then the kid's fighting to get to the 18-yard line? And, oh, wait, there was a hold? Now they get the ball at the 9? When you have a defense that's not very good, wouldn't you try that a couple of times? Or are you worried you're going to give up a 100-yard kick return? Like, why just auto kick everything out of the end zone if you work on special teams like we think you do? They lead the country in kickoff return coverage. They have not given up a kick return yard this year. Although it seems crazy, wouldn't one of those onside kicks have counted for a return?
Right.
Yeah, they're not great at that either, folks.
They're not
Spoiler
bad
alert.
Though. It's weird. They're not good at it, but they're not bad
I'm a
at it
I'm a results-oriented commenter, Aslan. If you never recover an onside kick, you're not good at kicking them.
Right.
And they also never go 10 yards. They go close, but not 10 yards. But they're 0 for 4. So those little things, the Deuce Robinson smacking the kid in the helmet, I get why he got the guy off him. I get it, folks. They were in a wrestling match. The kid had him by the throat. He knocked his face mask to get him off him. The ref didn't do anything. He then did another slap to the helmet, which it wasn't a concussion slap. No. I mean, he barely touched the kid's helmet. But when you do it in front of a ref, you've derailed the drive, like Rizzi did against, was that Virginia or Miami, where he just dove on the guy and derailed that drive. You had 2 holds. You had another fumble. It's those little things. It's Deontay McCray apparently not even supposed to be on the field for that play where he got pump faked and Reed scored the touchdown in the back of the end zone to tie the game. It's just those little things, man, that they don't do well. They would not appear to be a smart football team. I think they're smart human beings, many of them, but they don't play the game smart. That fake punt was it was the best thing that could have happened to him was the delay of game. That thing was going nowhere. The element of surprise was lost. It was 4th and 11 when you're trailing with 5 minutes left. Of course they're expecting it. And it was blown up. They're lucky that it was called dead. But then you give up a 30-yard run. The quarterback's going to run. Justin Cryer leaps into the air like he's Iron Man to try to deflect the pass that was not thrown because the guy just did a simple pump fake. And what makes it even crazier is he's trying to deflect a pass to the running back in the flat, who Shaheem Brown is covering, by the way. So there's no need to even try to jump up and deflect it. The kid was not going to – it was going to be a 4-yard play. Instead, Justin Cryer jumps up in the air on the pump fake because you know all those plays where Florida State defenders are batting the ball in the air. That's their go-to. They do that all the time. I mean, they haven't done that once this season, but him and McCray are both jumping up as if they're going to knock down a pass, and they give up touchdowns because of it, frankly. They're not good on third down or fourth down defensively, I guess. So, yeah, man, it's a bunch of little things where well-coached teams don't do. Even if you have not the most – even if you have, pedestrian talent, if you're coached well, and I mean if you're coached well or you play the situations well, you can overcome some of that. But they didn't, and they don't.
Also, I didn't like when Earl had that pick at the end of the first half, and then the whole team ran like 90 yards to the other end zone to do like
I agree with that.
Team
I don't know what that was about. That was crazy. I get you want to celebrate, but come on, man, you just winded yourself. No. And it was a good play, but it wasn't anything better than cover. I mean, at least he caught it, though. I was going to say it was like a punt for Pitt, but a punt, nobody would have caught it. So he did catch the interception, but it ended up being a 50-yard change of field position on third down anyway, so it wasn't even that great a play. It's cool that he made it. His best play by far was late in the game when he punched the ball out after that aforementioned.
Incredible. Charles Tillman tips his cap. That was peanut punch, punch to the nth degree. It was incredible.
Great play by a kid that makes plays.
Yes.
But it just so happened to go right to the Pitt receiver because why wouldn't it? And so it was a bummer of a loss.
Hey.
It's a bummer. It's turned into a bummer of a season.
Before we put a bow on that game, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought. Apologize.
Oh, as you say, and I understand why everybody, even though I like the guy, and I don't think he's a bad coach, and I think there is a world where he turns it around and becomes a really good coach, either Florida State or somewhere else. I don't think his story is written. It has just gone off the rails here over the last 24 months. Ever since the snub and that the entire team decided not to play in the Orange Bowl and you got humiliated and all those kids had to wear it, that derailed his program. Can it get back? I don't know. But it would appear not.
Bill Belichick didn't work out, first time around. I would Pete Carroll. Look what happened to those guys.
That's right. Yeah, what are they doing now? They're crushing it.
Well, maybe. Yeah. They had really good runs, though.
They did.
Apropos of nothing, how do we square up that play where Heinzel in the second half, McCray comes, clean to the quarterback and isn't able to really affect him enough to derail that play, and then he ends up just making like a really ridiculous throw. Like, how do we square up if the roles were reversed? We're sitting here talking about Tommy's elusiveness and his playmaking ability, rather than like, we're not saying Tommy got lucky, that defense, what an idiot, like ran right by him, what terrible coverage on the back end. Because
so you're saying like sometimes guys just make plays.
Yeah.
And you can't just fault. Not every positive play an offense makes is because the defense sucked.
Correct. Like Tommy's touchdown to Landon Thomas was gross. Like that was lucky. If that defensive back decides to take one step forward to make a play on the ball as opposed to sitting there waiting for it. Shout out to Landon though, like great effort by Landon, but like bad decision, bad throw by Tommy, but like really good cleanup, make it right by Landon Thomas. It's just like if we see our quarterback do that sort of stuff, like man, like what a virtuoso, like what a Houdini act. And then when it's our defense eating it, it's like, why do we suck so bad? And it's like, I don't know, it's the duality of being a fan, I guess.
It is, and I get it. I think I think that guy's a good quarterback. He's not healthy, Tommy, as far as making people miss. And it was such a simple pump fake, and you come scot-free, you come clean. You can't jump yourself off the screen to where he has all day to find. Your whole goal there is to either get him on the ground or make him throw the ball. All you did was jump in the air for whatever reason because you thought obviously you thought he was going to throw it, and it's a bad play. But yeah, it's also a good play by him to think to pump fake. I didn't watch enough of the Boston College game to know if he pump faked a lot in that game, or if that was something he dialed for Florida State. But he made them look silly every time he did it. But I do want to stay on Tommy for a second because this stuff always happens when a team loses. Apparently, as Gus told us on Sunday, Tommy Castellanos got hurt pretty badly on the very first. He was already banged up. He already had an ankle or a leg thing. On the first play of the game, he keeps it, and the linebacker for Pitt, number 0, lands on him pretty hard. And he got hurt. The very first play that Florida State had in that game on offense, Tommy gets hurt.
Kind of like Jacob Pugh on Brad Kaya in 2016 against Miami.
Okay, I don't remember that one, but I hear you. Okay. But, he gets up because he's tough, and he plays the rest of the game. But that I can't tell what happened. It looks to me, and I'm just speculating, it was either it couldn't have been the shoulder because he wouldn't have been able to throw. I think he wore it in the ribs.
Okay.
Or I think it was the ribs.
Okay.
To me, it looked like the ribs. Because the wrist wouldn't explain why he wasn't willing to run or take any contact at all. No. But the way he slid every time somebody got near him, I think he hurt his ribs severely. And he still went out there and did what he did. And if Deuce doesn't get hurt, I think they win the game. And we're talking about what a competitor and what a warrior he is. And I don't want to lose sight of that just because they lost the game, that he played like losing football or doesn't deserve to be commended. He got really banged up, and he's been banged up. He's not the biggest kid in the world. And he still plays his butt off and makes plays. And, he's not incredible. He's not Jameis or Charlie, but he's a good college quarterback, in my opinion, that loses a lot of his effectiveness when he can't run at all. And it really kind of crippled the game plan where they can't, if he's not keeping it, if he's not a threat at all to keep it, well then, yeah, you're not going to have a great running game. And they didn't in the second half. And then they couldn't throw it either.
They had a good drive.
They didn't even try to throw it.
That drive where they fumbled, they were moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, they were doing it, but it was like
it
was like 11 straight runs, I think. But it was like 4 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards. It wasn't the big play running
It's demoralizing. That was good, though. It was good, like grind them down.
Right up until you fumble. Yeah. No, it wasn't the fumble. It's the hold. Right up until the hold. And as soon as they called Pettibone for the hold, which it sounded like Malzahn was not sure about, that it was an actual hold, you knew the drive was over because it was 1st and 20. It's like this offense, as it's currently constructed, with all their best pass catchers besides Micahi Danzy out of the game, they're not going to go get 20 yards. And then Keziah, of course, fumbled on the next play.
The same thing happened against Miami, though. We're back to the Rizzi penalty, where it's like, why is this offense so explosive, top 5 and everything, but like a holding penalty is like, all right, punt alert.
I think it's like they're going to make plays in the passing game when you're expecting run. If you know it's 3rd and 17, this isn't Jameis to Kenny Shaw. It's not built like that. He's not Jameis, and you just don't have that many good receivers where you can put a lot of stress on a secondary, even a long situation, in my opinion. But yeah, you don't have to punt. You don't have to punt on 3rd down. You don't have to give up. But I just wanted to shout out Tommy because he did get hurt. He's clearly been banged up for a few weeks. He still competes his rear off. He got up. You watch that when he gets hit. He's helped up, and then they score a touchdown that drive. Now it was all runs. But they scored a touchdown on that drive. They scored 2 more touchdowns, including that one you're talking about, where he's heaving it as he's getting tackled. Well, he's doing that with something wrong with him, either some rib issue or a midsection issue, or maybe a rib. I don't know. But he's not 100%, and he's still competing out there and trying, which is great. You tried, awesome. But I do want to commend him for the way he fights and the way he plays, and frankly how good he's been. That throw to Danzy, both throws to Danzy. I knew the game was over, but that's a great. And even the play to Landon, that's a competitive play. Like, good, compete. Don't eat it. Don't throw it out of bounds. Is it smart to just throw it up when you've still got that much time left and it's not 3rd down? Probably not. But he competes and he gives his guys a chance. But he's just not nearly as effective if he's not a runner. If the running is taken away, he's not nearly effective, but he still had an impact on the game, and he did it without any of his security blankets. So good for him.
Hey, you got it.
Good for him.
You got it right. Gus, Gus corrected you on that too. You see, like kind of low key corrected when you said you like to say comfort blanket, and you did.
You could be. Oh, and he said security blanket.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, I think they're the security blankets. I'm like, Gus, all right, my man. Hell yeah.
But I just said security blanket.
You did, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you did.
Right.
I'm
back.
Right.
Gus got me back on track, everyone. I don't know what's a comfort blanket? And also lastly, Micahi Danzy.
My goodness, cow. Seriously.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was a complete gadget novelty, which, by the way, apparently Bob Hayes, sorry. We should have mentioned him when it came to
as far as FAMU's own Olympian and NFL star wide receiver.
Somebody said Willie Gault might have also done it, but I don't know if they did it simultaneously. Like, were they in NFL training camp and then hit pause to go to the Olympics and win a medal? But
Yeah,
point
did
stands.
Willie Gault run in the Olympics? I know because I know he went to Tennessee and was a track star and then played for the Bears. I don't know that he ran in the Olympics.
I'll look it up.
Also, it wasn't the 400 is like some serious training. It's a little different, I think.
He was part of the another casualty of the 1980
Yeah.
Olympics. Willie Gault.
So we're talking about a guy that could be in the Olympics and an NFL player. But his first touchdown, both of them were great.
Yes.
But his first he also spun out of a play and got an extra 15 yards because he's hard to tackle. That first touchdown where he's running at one angle, sees the throw, and immediately goes vertical and catches it over his shoulders. Dude, that's like NFL-type stuff. And the guy's been playing the position for 3 months. Like, what is this guy going to be? Aslan, that's what you start. Okay, what if they do win 5 games?
Here we go.
What if they do win 5 games and Danzy comes back and Deuce comes back and Pittman comes back and you actually get some guys on defense that can play because this guy will be able to get guys for his system. And you'll have a competent defense that can hold teams to 22 points. And you run this all back with, an electric, Danzy, who might be one of the best receivers in the country if he keeps progressing at this rate. Deuce, who's an NFL player. Pittman, who's a really good tight end. Cromwell is probably an NFL running back. There's some stuff here to like, right? For the first time, there's some young guys and some young talent, or newcomers anyway, that aren't guaranteed of leaving early, that if they come back can get you genuinely excited about what you're going to be as a football team. But not if you're coming off 6-6. Because I just don't think they're going to get the chance. So we'll see where it goes. Beat Stanford. For heaven's sake, beat Stanford.
All right. Shout out to our over-under winner, Sunrise Knoll. We had to do a scratch on the Squirrel White prop since he didn't play in the game. But that was fun. He won $25 gift card to Garden and Gold. Hope you folks enjoyed hanging out at Hotel Indigo with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang. They'll be doing a radio show from 1 to 4 p.m. I will be in front of my mobile device. I can't wait to. I think our guy Noel Daddy on Warchant was like, can't wait for the shows this week. I think he was like, can't wait to hear from Corey and Aslan, but I think Jeff's going to go scorched earth. So.
Yeah. He lives for this.
I don't say that.
I
love this tweet that were just like, pay Mason Heinschel $800,000 before he gets into the tunnel.
Yeah.
That was a good tweet. Solid tweet.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, that kid is good.
He is.
I think.
Yeah. And I hope he stays there. And I hope somebody doesn't steal him away from Pitt. Because, he apparently was a very unheralded recruit. They kind of offered him late. And it's like, all right, man, stay with the program that gave you a shot.
Yeah.
But also, if you want to come to Tallahassee, if it all works out and makes sense, we're here.
Bring Reed with you. Bring Desmond Reed with you.
And Poppy Williams, number 5. He's another guy. Their 2 leading rushers are native Floridians. Their second leading receiver was a native Floridian. It's like, man, let's evaluate a little bit better. And
again, but that's what I brought up about Franklin. Again, I'm not advocating for him to get the job.
But
I'm not advocating for it either.
You did. I think. Sorry to keep interrupting you today, Corey, but I think when we went for Mike, so 2019, I think Venables was number 1 for you.
Yes,
and then
because it would make Clemson worse.
Yeah, and then Franklin was 1B or definitely number 2. Those are the 2 guys that you wanted when the 19 cycle started. So
well, and look, number 1, I don't think he's going to want a ton of money because he's about to get $50 million to not coach. Yeah. Maybe I don't know how buyouts work if you take another job. Anyway,
there's offsetting, so it's pretty much like whatever you get paid at the new school, they'll deduct it from what they owe you the previous institution.
But again, he recruited at such a high level at Penn State, and it's not like Penn State of the 80s, man. He did not take over a program that was in great shape. As we all remember what happened before he got – Bill O'Brien was the coach before him. And before him was a guy named Joe Paterno who was fired in disgrace and died 2 months later. That place was it was a laughing stock. Not even a laughing stock. It was people were grossed out by it.
Yeah, it
was disgraced. He went in there and made it Penn State again. Not to where they were winning championships, but they haven't won a championship since '86 anyway. He made it to where they had really good players again and won a lot of games. His 2 worst years were his first 2 years. They went 7-6, and then the COVID years. They weren't good then. Other than that, they've been 9 or 10 wins every time, or 11 wins, or last year 13 wins.
2 playoff wins last year. They had 2 playoff wins a year ago.
Can't win the big game, though, except for those 2 playoff wins. But more than that, more than his coaching acumen, and he has it because he won at Vanderbilt, too. He was the first person ever to win. He had back-to-back 9-win seasons at Vanderbilt before the portal and before NIL. That's crazy. So he can coach. But imagine him, the way he gets players, the way he recruits in the state of Florida. That would be scary. And what I wonder about is Florida's going to be looking for a coach too.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Here we go.
Would you rather have James Franklin, or do you want to see what Florida might look like with that guy recruiting? Because that could be scary. He could also lose to Northwestern and at UCLA. Who knows? The way he gets players, man. I just read you all those names and those numbers, and that was just a 5-year stretch. Except for Saquon, he was he was like 17 or 18. But man, he is impressive to get guys to come play at Penn State after the Sandusky nonsense and the fact that they weren't good, and he immediately makes them relevant and makes them an NFL pipeline again. That's what Florida State needs to be. Again, doesn't have to be Franklin. I want guys that can go get dudes, develop them into NFL players, because that begets more NFL players. And not just one-offs from Michigan State or Western Michigan or Albany, although he was a 2-off. I want guys that come up through your system that are badass as freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. They're All-Americans. That's how you sustain, apparently, and build a program. And Norvell, he could start doing it. He just has not given us any proof yet that he will.
Someone said to that point, it was this is a battle for Lane Kiffin between Florida and Florida State, and whoever gets him is going to win the next 10 years. And it could be James Franklin, right? It could be Kirk Cignetti, right? Like if Florida's going to there's no way Kirk
Cignetti, by the way, holy cow.
It's incredible, man. Like literally it might be a bigger deal what he's doing this year than last year, because like
100%.
He identified to identify what is wrong with your team, what is missing, and then to be able to flawlessly, seemingly go out and get those players to fill it's.
How are they so good defensively?
That's what I'm saying.
They fly around like they're Georgia. It's crazy how good they look defensively. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So yes, he's very, very good at his job. Go get him.
Yeah, so whoever gets the right guy.
If Norvell is not here. Yeah. If Norvell is not here.
But, yeah, those guys, Lane and Cignetti are going to have a completely different price tag than James Franklin. But, listen, if Mike Norvell goes to Penn State and James Franklin came to Tallahassee, who's feeling better about their future?
Yes, correct.
So
it's a good way to put it.
Anywho, all right, Jeff Cameron, 1 to 4 o'clock. Seminole headlines tomorrow. We'll speak to Mike Norvell later this morning around 11:30. He's really good about that. So,
yeah,
if he was as awesome of a coach as he is punctual, man, we'd have another trophy room in Doak Campbell Stadium. So, 11:30. Tune in. Warchant.com. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com.